Hey everybody, welcome back to RPG Role-Playing Geek, and that's me, I'm the Role-Playing Geek. You know, I've been having conversations lately about how much combat is appropriate, is best for a D&D game. Now I'm specifically talking about D&D, could work for Pathfinder or some other things, but we're talking about your typical high fantasy. So how much combat is appropriate? What's the best ratio of combat to other stuff? Now I'm going to give two answers here. I'm going to give my opinion and then I'm going to give the real answer. So my opinion is the amount of combat that I personally prefer is about 20%. And what that means is every 3 sessions, I'd love for a combat to take maybe, a third of the session or so. So, 1 out of every 9 sessions, I guess, is what, or nine segments. So, like, if you take a normal game session and break it into, let's say it's a 3-hour segment, and so, every third session, I'd like a 1-hour combat. So that's 1 out of 9, 20-ish percent, or maybe 15% math. I don't know. Anyway, so that's kind of how my preference is. I like a lot of meaty role play and problem solving and stuff, but a little bit of combat in there, to spice things up can be kind of fun. That's my personal preference. Now, the real answer, the absolutely hardcore, no-nonsense, official answer that there can be no arguing about is the amount of combat, the ratio of combat to other stuff in D&D should be whatever you want it to be. Some people really like the combat. They like rolling dice and hacking up monsters and things like that. And they might like a combat every single session. And you know what? That's perfectly fine. Some people like games like there are certain role-playing games where there's very little combat. Maybe combat every 5 to 6 sessions, if that, and combat is extremely deadly. That's fine too. This is a game. And a game is supposed to be fun, so whatever works best for you and your gaming group, whatever you guys want, if you want a lot of combat or almost no combat, forget my opinion. Forget anybody else's opinion. Whatever works for your group as a whole is the right amount of combat. Now, you may like a lot of combat, but the other members of your group may not like it a ton, in which case compromise should happen. You might like combat every single session, but most of your group would prefer not as much combat. So maybe a compromise would be the GM tries to organize combat for every other session or something like that. So that's the official answer. Whatever works best for you, whatever gives you the most enjoyment and makes the game most fun for you, that is the appropriate amount of combat for a D&D game. So that's all I have to say. I know this was a very short session, but there really wasn't a whole lot to talk about in this. Like, when the answer is whatever you choose it to be, there's not a lot of quantifying evidence or anything like that. Ultimately, like I said, what it comes down to is this is a game. It's supposed to be fun. And so whatever works for your group to make it the most fun for you. So I hope that answered your question. I hope you enjoyed this little tidbit. And if you liked it, if there's something else you'd like to see me cover in a future show, please leave a comment below and keep playing games. Take care.